Not only how accurate is our information coming from the media in terms of news, but also how fair is the media portrayal of, say, different races, female and male images, the images of the family, etc. So, sociologists and other social scientists look at the media and critique it. And it's important, we say, to do this because the media does have such a profound impact on our culture and on our societal, cultural beliefs and values. Specifically, one of the consequences of the media is a process termed by Antonio Gramsci as hegemony. And hegemony is this idea that one dominant group or a few dominant groups can secure the voluntary consent of the masses, meaning that the media tends to project one or very few perspectives, that not all of the perspectives of society are equally projected in the media. Um, so, for example, you might not see a lot of large women or men on TV and commercials. What we tend to do is we tend to see a lot of thin, a lot of well-groomed, attractive people on TV and in the movies, and it's even more sexualized in video games. And it's this idea of, well, because only a few actors are controlling this, controlling the media, that we don't have these alternative images, these alternative sort of perspectives portrayed in the media. And again, the media is important because it can have a very huge impact on how people believe people should look, how they should behave, what's normal, what's not normal. All of that can be affected by the media. So, and the idea is also that the media is not an example of domination. It's not forcing anyone to do or believe anything. Instead, it's the idea, and this is hegemony, that the media and the dominant group that controls the media gets people to go along with ideas that are presented because it seems to portray the natural order of things. Okay, so it's kind of very subtle. It's a subtle way of portraying a dominant ideology in the public sphere. Now, some of the other consequences of the media. We talked about this getting people to go along with the status quo. Um, an example of that would be consumerism. Consumerism being the steady acquisition of material objects, acquiring material things, often with the belief that as you acquire these material objects, it'll bring you some sense of fulfillment, that you're getting something from it. Now, again, this is one of those moments where you have to step outside of your own culture and your own situation and think back to a time where things were completely different. A time where people didn't buy things. Again, they made things. Everything that you needed, you made. You made your medicine, your clothing, your curtains. You made your furniture. Or if you didn't make it, you traded it. You traded or bartered. That's how you acquired your things because somebody made them, most likely from the home. Okay, this was before the days of factories. This was before the Industrial Revolution. Nowadays, in the post-industrial society that we live in, um, we have we are a consumer society. So we think about buying things a lot. Not only do we buy things, we think about buying them. Try to count how many times throughout a day that you think about making a purchase, any type of purchase, anything at all. Making a purchase and acquiring these material objects. This is consumerism, and um, it's again something that we don't really think about a lot, but it's a huge part of our culture. And media can perpetuate consumerism. How? Well, most likely, or most often, through advertisements. And we're constantly bombarded with advertisements on TV, on the internet, billboards, you name it. We are constantly bombarded with buy, buy, buy. And it becomes normalized, and we become desensitized to it. and we accept it as normal, as the norm. But again, as a sociologist, you look at your own society as if you were a foreigner, as if you were an outsider, an alien. So again, nothing is normal, okay? Another consequence of the media is ethnic, racial, or gender, religious stereotypes that come out of movies, TV, the news, video games, etc. So, for example, racial stereotypes portraying Arabs as terrorists, women as emotional, helpless creatures, or overly sexualized beings, which you see a lot in video games. African Americans as criminals. You tend to see a lot of Law and Order type shows where blacks are often portrayed as criminals. An example of actually this stereotype in the news is your book actually shows these two pictures that were taken during the Hurricane Katrina. On the left, you have a picture of a young black person carrying a bag with some goods in it, and on the caption read that this was a black person looting, quote unquote. Whereas the caption in the same article to the right of these two white people carrying things read that these people were finding bread at a local grocery store. So again, the media, when you have people at home, especially people who don't have a lot of experience, they might not live in a diverse neighborhood, so they don't have a lot of experience with other races or people of different ethnicities. They look at these images and they get a certain idea about this group and they start to associate, oh, well, this is what black people are like, and this is what white people are like. So, that's how powerful the media is. Another example of the images that the media can portray are in movies in the 1950s. Um, there was actually a production code within the movie industry that directors, producers had to abide by, and one of the rules was that husbands and wives could not be filmed sleeping in, or even sitting in, or whatever, in one bed. So if you watch any movies from the 50s, early 60s, you'll always see husbands and wives in two separate beds. Again, it's this idea that we're going to portray this image that American values are conservative and sexuality is not something that American people are open to, and that showing two people sleeping in one bed is vulgar, and it sends the wrong message. And even today, you have this. We often have this image of the 50s as sort of the heyday. It was the economic boom after World War II, but also as the perfect family, where you had the wife wearing pearls in high heels, vacuuming, cooking, Leave It to Beaver style. The father being the breadwinner, the perfect two children, but in reality, okay, this is actually very misleading. For example, in the 50s, there was actually a higher rate of teenage pregnancy than there is nowadays. The difference is that in the 50s, when a young teenager got pregnant, she more often married her, significant other, or the father of her child, or she, had the baby in secret, or she got an abortion. So it's, again, these ideas that the media portrays can be very deceiving. And as sociologists, our job is to critique the media. Um, again, because the media has such a profound effect on our culture. So that concludes this chapter. Again, if you guys have any questions or any comments about the lecture, please don't hesitate to email me, and I will see you in the next chapter.